Hello, and welcome to Purchase Broadcast Studios. Thanks for joining us here today. Inflation in 2022 is at unprecedented levels and has created dire conditions for shoppers old and young alike. Many economists attribute the surge of inflation to product shortages that come from the global supply chain issues, which themselves have been a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Here at Purchase College, inflation has been an issue for everyone from students to the administration. The annual inflation rate over the past 12 months has been 7.7%. The highest it's been in the past decade, 2.3%. And the Consumer Price Index was 14.3% higher this October than it was the year before. Frozen foods and meat are among the products that have increased in price the most. Packages of chicken breasts can be upwards of $20, while ready-to-eat frozen foods like pizza rolls have nearly doubled in price. Supplies like Lysol and trash bags have increased several whole dollars as well. Cereal also is one of the items most impacted by inflation. Boxes of cereal can be anywhere from $4.50 to $8. The increases to products, often ones of necessity, have caused students without meal plans to become more wary shoppers.
I definitely buy more bulk. I go in like at Costco with my friends and we buy like a big bulk of something that we all use, and then we split it up between us to save money. Definitely anything that's pre-made or kind of takes the labor out of creating the food definitely has gone up. Honestly, I think I would waste more food. Now I really buy exactly what I need for the most part, based on what I know I'm going to be cooking for the week. So yes, but I do think I was wasting some of the food that I was buying before.
The resident district manager of dining services, Sean Carvajal, spoke about how inflation has impacted this school and how they buy food for our campus.
Inflation and supply chain, I think, are somewhat tied hand in hand, in the sense that, I think throughout the last several years, the challenges with supply chain has really impacted us negatively in the sense that we're not able at times to get certain products consistently. And a lot of the products that are replaced with what we're normally using sometimes come at a higher cost for us. But what we really try to do is, the cost part is one thing, but what we really try and do is find a balance. We want to find a very much like item from a quality standpoint and make sure that we're serving that consistently. So in that sense, yeah, there has been some impact where we've seen an increased cost for items that we're purchasing. We haven't had to cut anything out, but I will tell you, there are multiple times throughout the last year or two where we just can't get certain items. It's not that we're cutting them out because the cost is too much, it's just really we can't get it.
Carvajal gave his best suggestions for students who don't have meal plans and shop at stores and what they can do to save money.
So I think if you plan ahead, figure out what you want to buy so there's no impulse buying when you're there, source out some coupons, figure out if that makes sense, and then in the very same vein, I'm talking about loss leaders in grocery stores. All the grocery stores sell the similar products but for different pricing. So I know there's times for me, I live in the city, I go to certain places for meat, I go to certain places for produce because things are priced differently and some are better quality. So I think not locking yourself into one specific place, taking the time to take a look what you can get that's cheaper, look for what's on sale. I think some of those are the real key items. Don't go to the store hungry. I know there's a lot of talk around that. But yeah, so I would think those are some of the advice. That's some of the advice I would give for anyone going shopping.
While everyone hopes for the surge of prices to subside sooner than later, our school and students alike have managed thus far against inflation by becoming more diligent consumers. The purchase community helps each other out and together have found ways to continue getting the products they want and need. For years, humans have been impacting wildlife environments and ecosystems. It comes as no surprise that as a result, different species of animals, such as the sea turtle and the Hawaiian monk seal, has since been endangered. This exhibition, which was held this past week, delved into the human effects on wildlife. It featured works such as Soft Shell, which focused on sea turtles, Red Band, which focused on the scarlet macaw's behind the scenes, which focused on honeybees, and Seal of Disapproval, which focused on the monk seal, all of which are endangered species, mostly due to human interferences. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Renee Medina has the story for us.
Professor Hakan Topal, an associate professor of new media and graphic design, held an exhibition for her social design class in the Visual Arts Building. Social design is a studio class that is a combined lecture and studio course that examines social and ethical issues in modern artistic designs. Projects in the course, such as this one, incorporate art installations, visualizations, and websites focusing on creative public engagement. Furious George, the title given to the social design exhibition, gives insight of human environmental integrity. It was put together by students who show concern with human interference and their impact on nature. For this exhibition, students were paired into groups and had to focus on a specific animal that has been affected by the actions and the conducts of humans. The animals specified in the exhibit are the sea turtle, monk seal, scarlet macaw, and the honeybee.
So for our class of social design, we talked a lot about the Anthropocene and about non-human life and how much as humans we have affected the sea life and kind of like the environment and the climate and everything else that we've kind of trampled over on Earth. So we wanted to do a non-human life form. So we chose the monk seal, and seeing as though it's one of the most endangered seal species in the world, we thought it would be a good idea to talk about not only pollution but like also marine debris and it being entangled and everything that that's not naturally there in the first place. I feel like it's a very big deal since a lot of us don't tend to think about recycling. It's more of it doesn't just affect the land, it also affects the marine life, and especially animals that live in solidarity. The monk seal being one of them. It doesn't get a lot of human interaction, so seeing that it's one of the most entangled species, it's pretty crazy to see.
The exhibition, which held its opening reception during this fall semester, was open to the campus community. Visitors could take a look at each exhibit and speak with the new media students about their work. These visually compelling pieces bring to light existing human disturbances that influence wildlife behavior. This leaves room for more conversation about animal species that are at risk of extinction.
This is a project for social design, and when reading about the Anthropocene, we chose to highlight specific ecological issues that we thought are of importance. Ours specifically hopes to highlight the 40,000 approximate turtles that are poached illegally every year for their eggs or their meat or any kind of resource from them, for a narrative that is believed that it heightens male sexual performance, which is completely false.
6 out of the 7 sea turtle species have been classified as endangered due to human actions.
Just looking at current events, there's a lot of talk in the news about how they might be able to be used for medicine, but there still exists a very current trade with black market sea turtle meat and sea turtle eggs. We're hoping to learn more about the greater topic of human impact on ecology and wildlife and the mark that humans are making.
One of the most basic aspects of a college thriving is getting new students to come. Regardless of if they're young or old, freshmen or transfers, there has to be a commitment to making the school look attractive to visiting students. Purchase is no different. Every day the admissions office makes sure that people who stop by Purchase get to see everything the school has to offer by offering student-led tours to guests. However, there's more to admissions than just showing high schoolers and their families around campus. As PBS correspondent Cameron Main showed us in this report.
Like all colleges, Purchase's admissions office is critical to the college functioning properly. They make sure to show what Purchase has to offer and how it's a unique institution like no other. It also has to make sure that everything in regards to tours and prospective students goes smoothly.
I had worked previously in the academic world in an administrative capacity, and I had also worked in the arts. And it was very important to me that as I continued to seek out work in the academic world, it be a creative and arts-oriented space. And so Purchase felt like a very natural fit.
I decided to work in admissions because I needed an on-campus job, and the pay is like pretty alright.
It's such a creative space, and that the work we do here in admissions is always changing and is very much project-based and event-based. It's sort of like putting on a show all the time, whether that be a tour or an open house or an accepted students day. It's always something different, and so everybody wears many hats and does many different things. I think it tends to attract very dynamic people.
Both full-time adult employees and students work at admissions and perform different functions. While the adults manage the more administrative aspects, students give tours and input data from the college fairs and high school visits into the admissions database.
I get priority registration with this job, which is something really important to me, especially because being in the theater and performance major, some of the electives have very limited slots, so I wanted to make sure that I got into those classes. I like talking to people. I also strangely like the tedious work that comes with it, like signing the postcards and like stamping and like putting stickers on things. That's my happy place. I mean, I like the people part, I hate the people part, because sometimes you do get those people that are like a little bit of a jerk, actually a lot of a jerk, so they're difficult people to deal with. Sometimes the scheduling is a little weird, so like there'll be something happening, but like I'm working a shift, so like I would try to like switch it, so it's kind of like some scheduling stuff.
Because it's so much about any given day and what the events are that day, there's a lot of room for last minute change and adjustment and adaptation, which is a sort of chaos that I thrive in, but also can be pretty exhausting. So I do think that I need to limit myself in terms of the energy that I put out just to get through a week. but it's also what makes the job fun.
While it's not a cut and dry job, the people who work at admissions perform duties that are essential to Purchase thriving.
While you may think living on campus is the best option for the sake of convenience, that may not always be the case. To discuss these factors, Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Molly Baker interviews a fellow student on their struggles with the conditions of Fort Awesome Dormitory, as well as other student facilities.
Ashley Handel is a sophomore photography major at Purchase College. This is her second year living in the Fort Awesome Dormitory building. She undergoes issues with the student facilities plus the dorms themselves every day, such as broken elevators that cause a struggle to carry her art pieces, and fire alarms that disrupt her student schedule. These issues within the dorm building and the facilities affect all students on campus every day.
I didn't think there would be as many issues as there are, like the elevators constantly breaking, people not knowing they have laundry, and like, you know, you need to take it out. I feel like things aren't really organized. So I'm in a view camera class, very big, so I have it in this like big case and it's on like a luggage, like carrier type thing. And if I like need to take that outside to take pictures, it's an inconvenience if the elevators are broken because it's so heavy and I'm not gonna carry that downstairs. The fact that there's so many fire drills that happen, it's kind of ridiculous. These alarms are probably too sensitive. I feel like they should maybe be more looked into. A couple weeks ago we had 3 fire alarms in one day and I'm just like, okay, that's kind of concerning. Me and my roommate, we like have run into issues like with bathroom lights, like constantly going out and getting fixed, and also broken arm wall doors that we've had to get fixed.
Due to the amount of money students spend for the convenience of dorming, these issues should be taken care of in a timely manner, or the school could update their facilities such as the fire alarms and the elevators so these issues don't occur to begin with.
Also relating to VA issues, they are like in the basement is where like all the photography like stuff is and where the dark room is. So during the spring semester they are renovating. I don't understand why they're doing that while we're gonna be here. It's gonna be a mess.
How do you think Purchase could improve their student facilities?
Maybe take into consideration of our feelings and, you know, how things are gonna affect us. I think it definitely does affect a bigger community. I don't really care about how students feel, especially with the construction of Broadview. They're like building that so quick, and it's like, oh, the students have so many issues with things they need, and we don't see you fixing them so quickly. So it definitely is a big issue that I feel should be looked into more.
Usually when it comes to college experience and career preparedness, first-generation college students tend to get left out of the conversations. Fears such as how to get through your first year run wild as many prepare to enter college. Let's take a look here at how Purchase prepares their students.
On Wednesday, November 9th from 12 to 1:30 p.m., the Multicultural Center and EOP/MAP office hosted an event in their Student Services Building Red Room called Pass the Baton. This event featured a panelist of students, faculty, and staff to share their stories as successful first-generation college graduates. For first-generation students, the college process can seem very intimidating and daunting to tackle without someone in your family who has gone through that process themselves. Historically, there's been this expectation that if you're a first-gen student, you will have a much harder time succeeding in college without the backing of someone who has walked a similar journey.
No, I'm not a first-generational student. Up until my grandparents, they were the first, so I guess now I'm the third. And really almost everybody in my family other than my brother finished college, so college has always just been my goal, kind of the direction I've been steered towards.
I am not a first-generation college student either. My parents went to college, their parents went to college. I didn't take the same route, and I'm taking a little longer to get through an undergraduate degree, but I still ended up here just like them, so, good stuff.
I think it is. I think there's a lot of different classes that I can take. I'm taking a touring class, so, yeah.
All right, and how's that class like?
It's cool. It's something that I didn't think I'd be able to learn in school, but it's really cool, and it helps you, just get prepared before you actually go into the real world.
Purchase College has several ways to help students of all kinds feel prepared to achieve their goals, post-undergraduate, first-gen or not. Regardless if you're into music, politics, dance, or history, most class and department environments set up an atmosphere where students feel supported.
I feel like yes, to an extent. I wish there was more opportunities because I'm a biochem major, but I do like the fact that the science teachers here are really reasonable and really good, and they provide a lot of help and tutoring, especially with science classes. Yeah.
Even though not many people came to the Pass the Baton event, the EOP/MAP and multicultural offices are ready and willing to make sure that each student that needs extra support can confidently know who and where to go to.
Blind Brook Watershed is a natural drainage system that runs through the eastern edge of Purchase College. Beginning just north of campus at Westchester County Airport, it winds through Rye Brook and Portchester before emptying out into the Long Island Sound. Blind Brook has been a source of flooding in the area, with proposals to alleviate the flooding dating back to the late 1970s. The issue gained new traction in the wake of Hurricane Ida, which caused extensive flood damage and the loss of multiple lives. Now Purchase College is being considered as a location for an infrastructure project designed to mitigate flooding along Blind Brook. Purchase broadcast correspondent Elijah Perella has the story for us.
A proposed flood mitigation project on the Purchase campus has been a topic of much debate over the last few weeks. If given the okay to move forward, a set of dams, or berms as they are being referred to by the school, would be constructed along a stretch of water that runs through the eastern section of campus, known as Blind Brook. The plan comes in response to major flooding that occurred during Hurricane Ida, where residents downstream experienced a storm surge that saw Blind Brook swell several feet above its normal level. On Brook Lane, in the village of Rye Brook, the damage was particularly severe, destroying homes and sending cars floating down the street. The Purchase section of Blind Brook is one of many potential sites identified in a flood resiliency report commissioned by the village of Rye Brook. However, the site was also identified in the Broadview Environmental Impact Assessment as an area of campus that should remain untouched and undeveloped under a policy known as Forever Wild. Students and faculty are concerned that building berms in this area would permanently alter Blind Brook and destroy valuable habitat for the plants and animals that call this area home.
You're also potentially going to change the actual stream over time, because when those flood events come through, you're basically creating all the water to go through a pipe, and it just whoosh. straight out the other end, and it will actually start eroding itself in different ways than what it does now. So like the berms do that to the water. For the wildlife, 100% you have fragmented what was a really nice intact forest, and we know we have coyotes and bobcat. I heard a report that there was a mink in there. There's a lot of animals that, you know, on our campus, you know, we have these little patches of forest and they can move between them, but rarely can they just move through 80 acres unobstructed.
In response to the proposal, student organizers held an event in the Stude last Thursday to inform their peers about the berms and offer suggestions on how students can involve themselves. Student Yuri Sarig has been leading the charge, organizing the information event and creating an Instagram page under the handle Oppose Perch Berms. Utilizing information made publicly available by the Sustainability Advisory and Outreach Committee, or SAOC, Sarig noted that at best, the proposed plan would alleviate flooding downstream by a foot. This would do little to mitigate the near 9-foot flood surge experienced during Hurricane Ida. The tone of his presentation and the sentiment of students in the room was clear. A reversal of the Forever Wild policy is unacceptable, and they do not want one of the last remaining wooded areas of campus to be cut down for yet another infrastructure project that they will see no benefit from. For the administration, namely President Pena, who appears to have final say over whether or not the project moves forward, the debate is more nuanced. She is being advised about the impact of the project by SAOC and other knowledgeable faculty members, including Chair of the Environmental Studies Department, Dr. Ryan Taylor.
So I've been advising her from a technical aspect about watersheds and about wetlands and floodplains and streams. That's all sort of in my, domain. And so I've been letting her know about that and getting her up to speed with those things and being a sounding board for her with that. So she is well aware of all of that. And she's incredibly receptive, right? And sustainability is something that I know she wears very close to her heart.
Seeking to balance both the interests of her students and the pressure being put on her by the surrounding towns who stand to benefit from the berms, whatever decision Pena makes is sure to leave some people unhappy. In a campus-wide email sent on October 27th, Pena explained the basics of the project and stressed that the school would continue to explore more sustainable options for flood mitigation along Blind Brook. At this time, the fate of the project is unknown, but SAOC is hosting a town hall to hear thoughts and concerns from students on Wednesday, November 16th.
Thanks again for joining us. I've been your host, Tobias Savard. Please join us next time here at Purchase Broadcast Studios.